Hey, what is up, YouTube? Andrew Rooney here, full-time drummer and drum teacher based right here in Auckland, New Zealand. We are back with a PayPal request. It's a mystery PayPal request. Long-time supporter of the channel, someone who's made plenty of requests. This one is Ticks and Leeches live. Looks like it was in Uncasville, CT. What's that? Connecticut? 2012. Let's check it out. Ooh. Drums just sound thunderous. Where's Maynard? Oh, there he is. Just a thought real quick. I do feel like Danny Carey is the musical star of Tool. Now, that's not to take away from the guitaring or the bass playing or Maynard, of course. Is it Adam Jones, I think is the guitarist name. Bass player completely slipped my mind. That's not to say that they're not great players or they're not accomplished players. Of course they are. They're fantastic players. But I do feel like Danny Carey, maybe it's a drum thing, but I'm pretty sure Danny Carey does get the most attention musically out of the group. Look, at this point, we all know that his drum parts are insane and just so thoroughly composed and so thoroughly thought through. Just remember, these guys have got to play bass and guitar over those parts and lock in with all of the modulations, all of the polyrhythms, the intense fills, everything that's going on, they have to lock in and play with that. So do not underestimate their parts or how great a players they are. This is obviously crowd footage, 2012. What are we? What sort of phones were we rocking back then? I guess it's, might be iPhone footage from the crowd. Early iPhones? Well, I guess 3, 4. I don't know what was going on in 2012. It's pretty basic footage, but it still sounds thunderous. The actual sound is actually great. You can't really clearly hear the vocals, but just the band dynamic, the tightness for only those three musicians on the stage, plus Maynard, that sounds horrible. 4 musicians, 3 playing instruments, 1 vocalist, obviously. The depth of sound and how much is going on amongst those 3, it's staggering, honestly. Completely unique band. Anyway, we'll keep it going. Could wax lyrical about Tool all day, but yeah, it's just phenomenal. It's just I try to stay away from unique or completely original because often, it's just not the case. There's, nothing new under the sun, as they say. But I mean, Tool, pretty unique, pretty original, in my opinion anyway. Really take their time on the composition as well. Soloing over the vamp here, basically. Powerful. And that is one song at the concert. I mean, mind blown, right? I spoke on the previous videos, which were 2 Jethro Tull videos. In some ways, a little bit similar, where it's a little bit genre. It's a little bit hard to pigeonhole the group. And I called Jethro Tull. I said the genre is Jethro Tull. Certainly, the genre here is Tool. It's another one of those groups where, isn't it interesting, when you get these legacy groups, they are really original. Now, I don't think legacy groups need to be original. There are some that are, relatively derivative and just, firmly in their style and in their genre, and that's fine as well. But this is just, it's a little bit like a miracle. Every time I see a Tool performance, it is like witnessing a miracle, right? I've written down here as well, another thing that popped into my head is they've got almost universal respect as a band, which is really unusual in that I don't really hear a lot of haters. I don't hear a lot of people coming out and saying, oh man, I hate Tool, or Danny Carey's terrible. It's like this universal originality and respect, which is amazing. And put down here, it's an experience. Seeing Tool is an experience in the sense that you are feeling, you're hearing the music, sure. They're not overly bombastic. It's very sort of performance orientated in the sense that they're performing and executing their parts, and they're giving you this incredible experience, a mind-bending experience of what am I listening to here. It also has that thing of you can't always move with the music because it's so unpredictable, and often, not in 4/4 where we can just nicely bob along. It's not like that. So you end up, for lack of a better term, receiving the music. You sort of stand there, maybe a little bit like Meshuggah, where you can sort of stand there or sit there and just you take it in, and it's just like, wow, this is powerful, right? I really appreciate there was that long bridge part there where the guitar sort of was on its own, and there was just tinkle, tinkle, tinkle around the cymbals, and then it slowly built up. I put down here that I really appreciate how they're not afraid to take their time to build tension, not unlike a great film director, especially back in the day. Perhaps not so much these days, where there's a lot of short form content and people can switch off and watch the other 5 million streaming services and all the movies that are on offer. But back in the day, especially, the type of films that I really liked, which is typically from the 60s and 70s and the 80s, you'd take time to establish a character and you'd let things play out, and you'd actually go on the journey with the character, and it was not rushed. I've gone off on a little bit of a rant there, but it did sort of occur to me that groups like this, they're not afraid, they're confident. They will set a rhythm, set a new riff, and then, you saw Danny there actually soloing over that vamp and creating, and there's this creation going on, and then there's intensity getting added to the part, and it really, really magical and just original, unique, fantastic. Thank you so much to the mystery PayPal requester for suggesting this one. Not the best drum cam type of footage, but certainly enough there to fully appreciate the magic of Danny Carey. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please do consider hitting that subscribe button, like button, and leaving me a comment. I would love to hear your feedback on this one. And guys, until next time, take it easy, keep chopping wood. Ciao.